You might be sabotaging your fortune just by what's growing in your backyard. Most people think trees always bring peace, shade, and good energy. But in Feng Shui, certain trees, when placed behind your house, don't protect you. They quietly weaken your foundation, drain financial luck, and disrupt emotional stability without you noticing. A single wrong plant can slowly unravel years of hard work and harmony. And the worst part, the trees that cause the most damage are often the ones people admire most. That peaceful willow swaying in the breeze, it might be pulling down your family's energy. That sturdy cactus meant to stand strong against all odds, it could be piercing your prosperity from behind. The backyard is not just an outdoor space, it's the energetic spine of your home. And what you place there shapes the flow of everything that enters or leaves your life. If you've been experiencing constant small losses, unpredictable stress, or a sense of emotional heaviness at home, don't rush to blame your routine or relationships. The answer might be rooted in your soil. The good news? You don't need to renovate your home or spend thousands on complex Feng Shui cures. Sometimes all it takes is planting the right tree in the right place and letting nature rebalance what's been quietly out of tune. In this video, we'll explore 8 powerful trees that Feng Shui masters quietly rely on to hold wealth, protect emotional peace, and anchor long-term stability. Before you plant anything else behind your house, ask yourself, what kind of energy are you really growing back there? Number 1. Banana tree, the silent guardian at your back door. It might look soft and harmless, but planting a banana tree behind your house could be one of the most powerful Feng Shui decisions you ever make. Why? Because while most people focus on what's visible, the living room, the front yard, the entryway, true protection often comes from what's quietly standing behind you. In Feng Shui, the rear of your home represents long-term support, energy accumulation, and the foundation of your household's well-being. And when that space is neglected, left bare, or poorly planted, you might feel the consequences in ways you can't always explain. Maybe it's financial instability that comes out of nowhere. Maybe it's that constant feeling of being tired even when nothing is wrong. Or maybe it's the emotional tension that never fully goes away. These are not random. These are the quiet signals that your home's back energy is off balance. And the banana tree is nature's way of correcting it. With its wide, water-filled stems and large, flowing leaves, the banana tree has a rare ability. It absorbs heat, softens harsh winds, and cools stagnant energy. For homes with exposed backyards, especially those lacking a fence or structural support, this tree acts like a natural energy curtain. It blocks disruptive outside forces, while letting the positive flow remain undisturbed. In areas prone to strong sun or sudden gusts, the banana tree filters excess heat and sharp airflow, turning what would be stressful energy into a calm, nurturing field. This matters more than you think. Energy, just like water, needs the right container to stay still, to gather, and to serve you. Without protection in the back, the energy in your life never settles. And when nothing settles, nothing builds. But there's more. In traditional energy practices, the banana tree is considered one of the most yin-rich plants, meaning it brings a cooling, feminine, restorative quality to any space. This is especially helpful for households constantly on the go, working late, juggling responsibilities, managing children, careers, and aging parents. If life at home feels more like surviving than living, the banana tree helps shift the frequency. It doesn't do it loudly. It doesn't make a show. It just stands there day after day, absorbing what you can't see but absolutely feel: tension, heat, pressure. Over time, its presence changes the tone of your space. You breathe easier, your mornings feel calmer, your sleep deepens, you stop snapping at your partner over little things. Why? Because the field around you is no longer agitated. Now, before you rush to plant one, know this: banana trees must be placed carefully. Never put them in the front yard near the main entrance, or directly next to windows that serve as your home's energetic gateways. Their yin nature, while grounding and protective, can suppress the active energy needed in social or public spaces. You want their influence in the back, along corners, behind patios, or in open areas that feel too hot, too bare, or too energetically exposed. And here's the beautiful part. Banana trees don't ask for much. They grow fast. They thrive in simple soil. They require little maintenance, and yet they offer so much in return. Shade, coolness, movement, quiet strength. You won't notice dramatic change overnight, but you will notice that things get easier. Less friction, fewer unexpected expenses, a greater sense of calm, like your home finally exhaled. So if the back of your home feels like something's missing, if you felt unsupported, restless, or financially unsteady without clear reason, maybe it's time to plant a silent guardian. Not a statue, not a symbol, but a living, breathing tree. The kind that doesn't just decorate your backyard, but defends it. The banana tree doesn't need your attention. It just needs your permission to stand where energy needs to be held. And once it does, you'll begin to notice the difference, quietly, steadily, without a word. Number 2. Bay laurel, the quiet master of family reputation. Not all success is loud. Some of it is built in silence, through steady choices, unseen discipline, and spaces that quietly support who you're becoming. If your family has been working hard but still feels overlooked, if your children are talented but don't seem to shine when it matters, or if your own career feels stuck beneath a ceiling you can't quite name, look to the energy behind your home. Because sometimes, the recognition we seek outside can only grow when the space behind us is holding us strong. And that's where the bay laurel comes in. The bay laurel isn't a flashy tree. It doesn't bloom with vibrant colors or demand attention. But what it radiates is far more powerful: clarity, calm presence, and an energetic field tuned for reputation, intelligence, and social standing. In Feng Shui, this tree is revered not just for its symbolism, but for its subtle effect on households striving for long-term success. Planted behind the house, in the area representing deep support and legacy, it works like an anchor, not pulling you down, but holding you steady through the currents of ambition, pressure, and progress. This isn't magic. This is energetic alignment. The bay laurel's dense green leaves act like a protective filter, shielding your space from environmental chaos and mental clutter. Its gentle aroma clears stagnation and subtly lifts the emotional weight that often builds around high-performing families. Perfectionism, stress, comparison. With time, families who live near a healthy bay laurel report subtle but meaningful shifts. Better focus during study, clearer thinking in decision-making, more harmonious communication between generations. It's not that the tree changes your fate, it's that it gives your energy the stillness it needs to rise. And that's the power of the bay laurel. It creates a space where your inner excellence has a chance to express itself. For children, it supports learning and achievement without anxiety. For adults, it stabilizes motivation and helps open doors to rightful success, not through shortcuts, but through clarity and quiet momentum. If your home has felt mentally scattered, if you've struggled with consistency or recognition, planting a bay laurel might not solve everything, but it will change the atmosphere that surrounds your efforts. However, this tree is selective. It won't thrive just anywhere. It needs balanced light, not scorching sun, but soft warmth. It prefers air that circulates, not heavy corners filled with stagnant energy. Most importantly, it needs intention. Don't plant it where there's constant noise or distraction. Don't forget it in a corner with no sunlight. This is not a tree of force. It's a tree of refinement. And like any form of real prestige, it grows best when it's nurtured with care, space, and time. And here's a quiet truth. Success that lasts doesn't come from force. It grows where there's room to reflect, to think, to evolve. That's what the bay laurel holds for you. If you're building a life with purpose, whether in career, education, or family legacy, let this tree support your path. Let it remind you that not all growth is visible. Some of the most important roots are the ones nobody sees. So the next time you look out into your backyard, ask yourself, do I have a space that holds my ambition gently? A space that supports my family's excellence without pressure? If not, maybe it's time to plant a master, not of noise, but of wisdom. A quiet master who doesn't demand your attention, but earns your respect. The bay laurel won't push. It simply stands behind you, ready, whenever you're ready to grow into who you truly are. Number 3, cluster fig, the secret keeper of wealth. Sometimes the real reason money doesn't stay isn't your spending habits or income. It's the invisible energy around you that can't hold abundance. Have you ever felt like no matter how much effort you put in, money comes in and somehow slips away? That you're constantly catching up, even though nothing obvious is going wrong? In Feng Shui, this isn't just about budgeting or hustle. It's about containment, having the right environment to hold what you earn. And few trees support this better than the cluster fig. The cluster fig doesn't look like a typical money tree. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't bloom for attention. But beneath its calm presence is a deep-rooted energy known to hold wealth, create stability, and anchor financial momentum in homes that need grounding. With its thick, full canopy and fruit that grows tightly around the trunk, this tree symbolizes wealth that gathers and stays. It's not about sudden riches. It's about sustainable flow. Prosperity that accumulates over time, like steady deposits into a long-term future. When planted behind your home, the cluster fig plays a protective role, not only shielding the space from chaotic external energy, but creating a strong internal field where opportunities feel more aligned and consistent. People who have grown this tree in the right spot often describe an unexpected shift. Fewer cancellations, more returning clients, smoother business cycles, or a greater sense of control over income. These shifts aren't loud. They unfold in quiet patterns, like life finally deciding to cooperate with your efforts. But there's another side to the cluster fig that goes beyond money. This tree has long been associated with emotional and physical well-being, especially in multi-generational homes. Its grounding presence helps calm anxiety, reduce overstimulation, and soften the emotional highs and lows that often come with modern life. If your household includes children, elders, or people recovering from stress or illness, the cluster fig becomes more than an energy plant. It becomes a quiet caregiver. Its strong roots stabilize the land. Its rounded leaves shield the air. Its fruit, when appearing in clusters, reminds you that abundance often comes in groups, not isolation. Still, this tree needs mindful placement. Don't plant it too close to your home. Its roots are strong and can interfere with foundations. And avoid planting it right outside bedroom windows, as its dense energy may feel heavy when you're trying to rest. Instead, place it where its protective power can radiate without overwhelming. A rear corner of the backyard along a fence line, or somewhere that feels too exposed or energetically leaky. And here's the deeper wisdom. Like true wealth, this tree doesn't respond to quick fixes or shallow intentions. It requires space, attention, and patience. Water it, trim it, respect it, and watch what happens, not just in your bank account, but in your sense of safety, flow, and quiet confidence. If you've ever felt like your financial life is too reactive, like you're always catching up or watching things slip through your fingers, ask yourself if your space is set up to actually hold what you're working for. Do you have a physical anchor for prosperity? A steady partner in your environment that knows how to guard what matters? The cluster fig doesn't promise miracles, but it does offer one powerful shift. From leaking to holding, from scattered to stable, from hoping to trusting. You won't see dramatic changes overnight, but over time you may notice something even better. Your home starting to feel like a vault for the life you're building. Quiet, strong, and finally able to keep what you've worked so hard to earn. Number 4, lucky bamboo unlocker of stagnant fortunes. Sometimes life doesn't feel broken, it just feels stuck. Days blur into each other, projects stall. Opportunities appear, then quietly disappear. It's not failure, it's friction, a sense that your energy is pressing against an invisible wall. In Feng Shui, this kind of stagnation often isn't caused by what you're doing, but by what's not moving around you. and one of the most powerful, gentle tools for shifting this blocked energy is the lucky bamboo. At first glance, lucky bamboo seems too simple to matter. Thin stalks, modest leaves, an easy-growing plant that doesn't ask for much. But don't let its humility fool you. In Feng Shui, this plant is prized not because it brings instant wealth, but because it gently unblocks what's been silently stuck. It represents upright growth, resilience, and clear energy flow. Planted behind your house, especially in the eastern or southeastern corner, it becomes a quiet conductor, releasing heavy energy and helping fortune start flowing again. The key lies in its shape. Lucky bamboo grows in straight, clean lines. It doesn't twist, spiral, or sprawl. Its form reflects yang energy, direct, uplifting, forward-moving. If your home has felt mentally cloudy, emotionally flat, or financially slow, this plant invites movement, not with noise, but with quiet pressure in the right direction. It helps you exhale tension, shake off inertia, and gently reawaken purpose where things once felt paralyzed. Many people notice its effects not in dramatic events, but in subtle shifts. An overdue payment suddenly arrives. A job offer appears after months of silence. Conversations flow more easily. The air feels lighter. These moments are not accidents. They are signs that energy is moving again because the environment is finally ready to support motion. One reason lucky bamboo is especially effective behind the house is because the rear of the home often absorbs and holds onto outdated energy, old fears, patterns, even unresolved frustrations. The longer they sit, the heavier they get. Lucky bamboo doesn't push this energy out. It transforms it, slowly, calmly, consistently. It circulates Kai like fresh air moving through a room that's been shut too long. Even its care routine mirrors this lesson. Lucky bamboo doesn't need rich soil. It can grow in just water. It doesn't crave constant sun, just filtered light, but it does require presence, clean water, a touch of attention. If neglected, it won't die immediately. But its leaves will yellow, its growth will slow. It becomes a mirror, reflecting the energy of the space and the people who live in it. This is why many Feng Shui practitioners recommend planting it in clusters, not just 1 or 2 stalks, but groups of 5, 7, or more. The more connected the bamboo, the stronger its influence. Each stalk supports the others. Each leaf joins in the quiet work of unblocking. Together, they create a gentle, unshakable momentum. And if you want to activate it even further, consider placing a small wind chime or coin near the plant, not out of superstition, but to signal movement. Sound awakens space, just like laughter does, just like change does. When placed with intention, lucky bamboo becomes more than decoration. It becomes a shift. So if you've been doing everything right, but life still feels like it's moving in slow motion, don't push harder. Shift the energy around you. Start with the back of your home. Let the lucky bamboo stand there quietly, unlocking what's been stuck, not by forcing anything, but by holding space for your life to begin moving again. Smoothly, strongly, silently, just like the bamboo itself. Number 5. Olive tree, your family's pillar of stability. Not all prosperity is about growth. Sometimes it's about grounding, about having a solid, steady foundation when everything else around you feels like it's constantly shifting. If your life has felt chaotic lately, if schedules are overloaded, conversations become tense, or moments of peace feel like they never last, your home may be missing a stabilizing force. In Feng Shui, one of the most powerful symbols of long-term peace and emotional resilience is the olive tree. The olive tree doesn't shout for attention. It doesn't bloom in bright colors or grow wildly. Instead, it stands with quiet strength. Rooted deeply, its slender gray-green leaves shimmer softly in the breeze, like a whisper of calm in a noisy world. For centuries, this tree has represented wisdom, endurance, and restoration. And when placed behind your home, the area that governs deep, energetic support, it becomes a living anchor, helping your household hold steady through both storms and stillness. Think of it as emotional architecture. While other trees might attract energy, the olive tree holds it. It grounds it. It slows down the pace of life just enough so you can catch your breath, think clearly, and respond with intention instead of reaction. In a world filled with constant stimulation, this kind of stillness is rare and deeply needed. Households that plant olive trees often report subtle but profound changes. Mornings feel less rushed. Arguments don't escalate as easily. Children seem more emotionally balanced. Even the air seems softer. That's not just coincidence. That's the environment shifting from reaction to rhythm, from scattered noise to centered flow. This tree is especially important for families going through transition. Divorce, relocation, retirement, healing from loss. It helps slow down emotional turbulence and gives each member of the household a sense of grounding, without words, without pressure. It's the presence of something that simply stays. In a world where everything moves fast and demands more, the olive tree offers something radically different: constancy. But like all real stability, it doesn't come instantly. The olive tree grows slowly. It asks for time. It needs sunlight, not shade. Space, not clutter. If you plant it in a cramped, neglected area of your yard, it won't thrive. And that's the point. The olive tree mirrors how we hold our own lives. It doesn't ask for perfection, but it does need care, attention, and commitment. It also carries energy forward. In many homes, an olive tree that's been cared for over the years becomes more than a plant. It becomes part of the family. A living presence that outlasts arguments, career changes, and even generations. Some families pass their olive trees down like heirlooms, and in doing so, they're passing down a vibration, one of patience, peace, and quiet strength. So if you're constantly adapting, always on the move, always giving but rarely restoring, maybe what your home really needs isn't more action but a pause, a place to hold your intentions, a tree that doesn't bloom with speed but with depth. One that tells your nervous system you can rest here. Planting an olive tree behind your house won't fix everything, but it might begin to shift the tone of your space, from reactive to rooted, from overwhelmed to open-hearted, from chaos to calm. And maybe that's the true definition of stability, not the absence of challenge, but the quiet confidence that you're held, no matter what life brings. The question is, does your home have a place for that kind of strength? Or is it time to plant one? Number 6. Polycia's fruticosa, the secret safe for your wealth. What if the reason your wealth keeps slipping through your fingers has nothing to do with how much you earn, but everything to do with how your home holds energy? You work hard, you budget, you even save, and yet somehow there's always an unexpected expense. A medical bill, a repair, a surprise drain on what you thought was secure. In Feng Shui, this recurring pattern often points to a subtle leak in your home's energy field, and Polycia's fruticosa is one of the most underrated ways to stop it. This plant isn't flashy. In fact, most people walk right past it, never realizing it could be the quietest protector in their garden. But its role is essential. Polycia's doesn't attract wealth, it preserves it. Think of it as an energetic safe, absorbing unwanted interference, filtering out chaos, and creating a kind of energetic seal around what you've already built. The key to this tree's power lies in its structure. With dense, soft foliage and a gently rounded form, it acts like a living barrier, blocking subtle disturbances from entering your home's field. Whether it's external noise, emotional agitation, or even the invisible drain of scattered energy, this plant knows how to soften and diffuse it. And the result? Less friction, fewer sudden setbacks, a financial life that doesn't just grow, but actually stays intact. For people who live with constant financial stress, even if their income is steady, this plant is often the missing link. Its energy helps retain what's already flowing. It doesn't promise new money overnight, but it prevents your home from leaking what you've already worked so hard to earn. Over time, you may begin to notice something different. Your savings don't deplete as quickly. That emergency fund finally stays full. You stop feeling like you're always starting over. Beyond money, Polycia's also supports emotional balance. Its presence has a softening effect on the air, on the mood of the space, even on the nervous system. People who live near this plant often report deeper sleep, fewer headaches, and less overall irritability. It's not that life gets easier. It's that the energy field around you stops agitating everything. The plant isn't healing you, it's giving your body and mind the quiet space to do that for themselves. However, like any safe, placement is everything. Polyia should never block major energy paths, like your front door or the airflow between your windows. It's meant to guard, not to suffocate. The best place to plant it is slightly off to one side of your backyard, just outside the direct line of movement where it can filter without interfering. Think of it like a wise doorman. It doesn't block visitors, but it senses who's right to let in. This plant also reflects your relationship with stability. If you neglect it, if the leaves become dry, brittle, or sparse, it could be signaling that your own energy is scattered or your life lacks containment. But if you care for it, even simply, keeping it hydrated, trimmed, and supported, it becomes a reliable ally. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady. So if you've spent years building wealth only to feel like you can't hold on to it, maybe it's not about doing more, but about guarding better. Maybe the missing piece isn't effort, it's energetic structure. And maybe that structure isn't a vault or a strategy or a spreadsheet. Maybe it's a tree, quiet, leafy, unassuming. The kind that does its job without anyone noticing. Ask yourself, do you want to keep chasing prosperity, or are you finally ready to hold what's already yours? If it's the second, start by planting your safe, and let Polyias quietly lock your wealth in place. Number 7. Areca palm, the invisible wall protecting your fortune. Sometimes, the most important protection is the one you never see. It doesn't make noise, doesn't draw attention, and doesn't interrupt the flow of your life. But without it, everything feels slightly exposed. In Feng Shui, the back of your home is your energetic spine. It's where strength, support, and stability are anchored. And when that area is left too open, too bare, or too vulnerable, even good fortune struggles to stay. That's where the areca palm comes in, a living barrier that holds your fortune quietly in place. The areca palm is not ornamental fluff. It is structure in soft form. With tall, slender trunks and feathery leaves that sway gently in the breeze, it creates a subtle but firm, energetic boundary. Planted in rows behind your house, this palm doesn't just block harsh wind or filter sunlight. It blocks the silent disruptions you didn't realize were interfering with your stability. If you've ever felt like your home life is unpredictable, like your routines never quite settle, or your finances keep swaying between highs and lows, look to the back of your house. If it feels too open, unsupported, or empty, chances are your energy and your fortune is drifting away little by little. The beauty of areca palms lies in how they protect without suffocating. Unlike solid fences or heavy structures that cut energy flow, these palms allow circulation. They let energy breathe, but guide it. Their upward form invites growth. Their flexibility absorbs and diffuses sharp emotional or environmental pressure. They're the kind of ally that quietly catches what might otherwise break you down. When planted mindfully, areca palms create a natural rhythm. They offer just enough visual weight to define a space while remaining elegant and airy. In Feng Shui, this balance is critical. You want protection, but not blockage. You want containment, but not confinement. The areca palm does both with grace. And over time, homeowners often notice a quiet shift. Routines feel smoother, the house feels calmer, and money doesn't seem to slip through the cracks as often. This plant is especially helpful for families with open-plan backyards, or homes that back into empty lots, busy roads, or unstable land. It acts as an energetic backrest, helping you feel supported even if there's no physical wall behind you. If you often wake up feeling ungrounded or restless, or if your nights feel mentally busy and emotionally scattered, the back of your house may be too open energetically. A row of areca palms brings that needed closure, not to trap energy, but to shape it into something sustainable. Practicality is another reason this palm is so popular. It's tidy, it's compact, it doesn't demand constant attention. It thrives with basic care, moderate water, partial sun, and space to breathe. It's ideal for people who want energetic stability, but don't have time for high-maintenance gardens. And yet its presence is anything but average. Planted in a straight line with even spacing, it forms an energetic fence that's not just functional but beautiful. In a world where we build so much to keep people out, walls, locks, alarms, the areca palm does something different. It holds space in. It keeps what's good from leaking out. It allows your fortune to gather, to root, and to stay. You won't notice the change immediately, but over time, things feel steadier. Less friction, fewer unexpected turns, more trust in the space around you. So if your home feels unguarded, too open, too vulnerable, too reactive, don't add another lock. Add a line of living guardians. Plant your invisible wall, and let the areca palm quietly hold your fortune exactly where it belongs. Number 8. Lucky bamboo, tall bamboo. Silent protector of family bonds in a world where everything demands your attention. Some of the most powerful protectors make no sound. They stand quietly in the background, holding space, absorbing pressure, and keeping things from falling apart. That's the role of tall, lucky bamboo, not just as a plant, but as a silent presence that keeps your family's energy field whole. If your household feels like it's constantly walking an emotional tightrope, small arguments that escalate, communication that breaks down for no clear reason, a sense that connection is thinning, this kind of bamboo might be exactly what's missing from your space. In Feng Shui, tall, upright bamboo represents strength with flexibility, unity without force, and quiet endurance. It doesn't command. It doesn't react. It simply holds. Planted behind the house, especially in clusters, lucky bamboo functions like an energetic spine, not just for your home, but for the relationships within it. Its hollow stalks represent openness and receptivity, qualities essential to healthy bonds. Its evergreen leaves reflect continuity, unwavering presence, and unconditional support. It teaches, without words, how to stay strong without becoming rigid, and how to give without draining yourself. If you've been feeling emotionally fatigued, like you're giving so much but still can't seem to create peace in your home, it might not be your effort that's lacking. It might be the energetic structure behind you. This is where lucky bamboo becomes invaluable. It strengthens what's already good. It stabilizes what's been strained. And it rebuilds slowly and gently what may have quietly cracked beneath the surface. Families that plant bamboo often report subtle but powerful changes. Children become less reactive. Partners communicate with more ease. The home feels more spacious, even if nothing physically changed. These aren't coincidences. They are signals that the environment is finally supporting connection instead of tension. But bamboo teaches something else too, interdependence. You should never plant it alone. One lonely stalk easily breaks, but a group of bamboo planted in close rhythm supports itself. Each stem holds the others up. That's the blueprint for healthy family energy. Everyone is different, but no one stands alone. If your home has an open backyard, or if it backs up to loud neighbors, heavy structures, or sharp environmental features, tall bamboo is especially helpful. It acts as a living screen, filtering not just noise and movement, but also emotional tension and energetic intrusion. And unlike harsh fencing or thick walls, it does so with grace. It lets energy move, but only the kind that nourishes. This kind of bamboo thrives in partial sunlight and prefers moist but well-drained soil. It doesn't ask for much, but it does require consistency. Just like the relationships it's there to support. If neglected, it won't scream for attention, but its message will show in yellowing leaves or brittle stalks. That's your cue to slow down, pay attention, and rebalance, not just the plant, but perhaps your own rhythm too. And if you want to deepen its influence, you can hang wind chimes nearby or place a small stone at its base. These aren't superstitions. They are ways to invite movement, grounding, and breath into the space. Because sometimes the things we think are still are actually just holding us together. So if your home feels emotionally fragile or your family bonds have grown tense, you don't need to speak louder, work harder, or push anyone to change. You might just need something quiet, steady, and deeply rooted to hold space for connection to return. Plant your bamboo. Let it stand there, not as a decoration, but as a vow that this home protects its people, not just with walls, but with presence. Let lucky bamboo become the spine your family can lean on, together, in quiet strength. Finally, we often think of prosperity as something we chase, something earned, bought, or granted when the time is right. But in truth, lasting wealth and peace aren't just about what you do. They're also about where you live, how your home holds energy, and whether that energy supports who you're becoming or slowly drains who you are. The trees we've explored in this video aren't magic. They won't fix your life overnight, but they each carry a frequency, a way of interacting with space, time, and the emotional tone of your household. When placed with intention behind your home, they do something profound. They shape the way energy moves, they protect, they anchor, they soften, and most of all, they create an environment where stability has a chance to take root. Because no matter how much you plan or work, if your space can't hold what you're building, things won't last. Energy is like breath. It needs rhythm. It needs containment, but not restriction. Flow, but not chaos. And these trees are natural regulators of that balance, each one offering a different form of support: financial protection, emotional clarity, mental grounding, or quiet resilience. In Feng Shui, we say your home is an extension of your body. What surrounds you reflects what's happening within you. So when you choose to plant something, not just for decoration, but for purpose, you're choosing to shift more than your garden. You're choosing to restore the architecture of your life. And sometimes that restoration doesn't begin with a new job, a new plan, or a new direction. Sometimes it starts with one act of stillness, one tree planted in the right place, with the right heart, and the quiet trust that from there everything else will begin to align.